Good afternoon. My name is Melany Laycock and I work for the Australian Institute of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Studies, or AIATSIS, in Canberra. Before I begin the formal part of my presentation, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay my respect to elders past and present. I would also like to acknowledge and pay respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in the room today. The presentation today is about AIATSIS's journey implementing a records management and digital asset management system to better manage our collection material and other records. So to begin, I want to tell you a little bit about AIATSIS. AIATSIS is a world-renowned research, collections and publishing organisation. We promote knowledge and understanding of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures, traditions, languages and stories, past and present. We care for a priceless collection of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander material, including more than 5,000 video titles and 830 films, over 650,000 photographs, 40,000 hours of sound, over 175,000 printed titles, and over 900 artworks and artefacts. We undertake and encourage scholarly, ethical and community-based research in a variety of sectors, including health, native title, languages and education, and publish around 12 books a year through our publishing house, Aboriginal Studies Press. As an organisation, we are proud that our activities affirm and raise awareness of the richness and diversity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and histories. When I started in AIATSIS 2 years ago, a project had been started to procure a digital asset management system to better manage, digitise and preserve our collection material. At the same time, the Australian Government was encouraging agencies to move to a digital by default workplace, including, where possible, implementing an EDRMS, or Electronic Document Record Management System, to create, manage and store content digitally. Like many agencies, staff at AIATSIS worked in shared drives, which were locked down to their own sections. This often caused duplication of processes and documentation, and staff had no visibility of what other sections were working on. Our administrative records were being stored on paper files, but some were also stored on the shared drives, and many files had and have published books or research papers that should be part of our collections. We don't have any way of quickly identifying corporate or collection material in these paper files. With so much information in different areas, limited metadata for records and collection material, and no single repository to store this data, we knew we had a challenge to find a system that could help us to manage all of our records. To prepare us for the procurement process, our internal project team met with each business area to get a detailed set of requirements so we could ask specific questions of the system vendors. In late 2014, AIATSIS put out a request for information to procure a system to manage corporate records and collection objects. We fully expected that we would need to implement 2 separate systems to meet both of these functions. AIATSIS received 25 responses to the request for information. After an extensive review, we invited 14 vendors to present their product in more detail. After viewing the presentations and doing another review, we invited a final 3 vendors to do a second presentation. We created a comprehensive case study for the vendors based on our process for receiving and accessing collection material. We wanted to see how their systems performed with a real scenario. Parashift was one of the final 3 vendors. They had originally presented the EDRMS component of Alfresco. For the second presentation, they presented the DAMS component. Everyone who saw this presentation was impressed by the extensive preparation that went into addressing the case study and how it would work in Alfresco. The project board unanimously decided to implement Alfresco, with Parashift as the vendor. After delivering their final presentation, we were confident that Parashift would be able to assist us to build an EDRMS and DAMS. From the beginning, Parashift showed they had taken time to learn about AIATSIS and displayed a high degree of awareness for Indigenous cultural sensitivities and the importance of preserving our collection material and other records. The system was competitively priced and could be further developed and built on to meet our future goals. Since implementing the system, we have appreciated the ongoing support Parashift provides in assisting us with developing ongoing functionality in both EDRMS and DAMS modules. Parashift continues to show appreciation for the work we do internally and with our stakeholders. One of the reasons we chose Alfresco was because it was a single platform that manages records and collection objects. AIATSIS had a vision. We wanted to be able to link our corporate material, research papers and grant applications with our collections. We wanted to be able to search and find this related material. Alfresco provides us with that capability. We like the fact Alfresco is browser-based and we don't have to install any software. The system has a really nice interface, is easy to use and intuitive, and offers some great functionality. We know we can continue to build and adapt the system as our requirements change. The Alfresco document library allows staff to create folders, like in a shared drive, and store documents in those folders. You don't need to be a records manager to use Alfresco, and this makes it very easy to use. Our staff know they are managing records, but they don't need to know which records authority the record belongs to, or when to declare it as a record, as this is now automated. The records management part of the system is handled behind the scenes by Alfresco's records management module. We are keen to explore and develop the system as we grow as an organisation, and to implement functionality to provide collection material online to remote Indigenous communities. The Alfresco Dams module was implemented into a test environment mid-last year, and we spent the second half of 2015 developing a proof of concept. At the time we were developing the dams, we implemented the out-of-the-box document and records management module. During the last 7 months, we have rolled out the EDRMS component of Alfresco to 90% of staff in AIATSIS. This has included the training of over 100 staff, as well as developing new file structures in Alfresco and migrating current administrative content from shared drives. In the near future, shared drives will be made read-only and all objects will be managed in Alfresco. The response to using the system has been very positive. To make things easier for staff, we have enabled single sign-on and have enabled a network drive that allows staff to use Windows Explorer as a plug-in to Alfresco. Other functionality to be introduced shortly is the ability for multiple people to edit a single document in real time, and the Alfresco Outlook client to manage emails. We are also scanning our 10,500 paper files stored in our registry area. To date, we have scanned and named well over 20,000 documents in 800 plus files. These records have been migrated to Alfresco and will be made available to staff in the near future to access digitally. Over the last 2 months, there has been significant work developing a standardised metadata schema across AV, published and print collection material. The metadata schema is likely to be based around extended Dublin core and combined with premise and other standard schemas. We are also looking at implementing a schema to allow us to manage objects based upon cultural and ethical constraints. Phase 2 of the Alfresco implementation for both DAMS and EDRMS will involve mapping work processes to streamline and automate tasks that are being done manually, set up business intelligent reporting, expanded integration with other institute systems, and the redevelopment of our corporate intranet for use in Alfresco. So this is the end of the formal presentation. I would like now to show you some screenshots of the Alfresco system in AIATSIS, and then I will answer any questions you might have. So this screenshot here is our AIATSIS records management page, which has been developed to provide information to staff about records management. We also have hints and tips, and this is really just showing how we can present information in a number of different ways. This second screenshot here shows, again, another site, our DAMS implementation site, and we're using site links here, and we're also using a wiki that you can see there as well, which shows again how we're presenting information differently. And the next slides show our workbench proof of concept. The DAMS itself is a site, and Parashift has developed an area within the site which allows us to manage collection material as it comes into the organisation. And this site has been customised for AIATSIS. So this third screenshot here shows that material can be prioritised based on its current condition, vulnerability, so the likelihood of deterioration or redundancy of playback equipment, current demand for the item, the opportunity, so future demand of item, the item's significance, so that'll be cultural, historical or unique significance there. So this next screenshot shows the material and how it can be restricted based on our access conditions in AIATSIS. This restricts who can access, see or edit the material. This one here shows our filter bar, and this can be used to build complex filters which can be saved and reused. There's a long list of criteria or metadata that we can filter against, as you can see in that drop-down box there. This screenshot shows the current status of particular material, which section it belongs to, whether the material has been accessioned or not, the priority to digitise and the person responsible for working on the material. Screenshot 7 shows the extensive properties of the object, which have been customised on the right-hand side there, and provides a list of the changes in status for this object. And this last screenshot shows the current status update of a collection and the status over the last 30 days. So thank you, and I hope you've enjoyed this presentation.